Hey, Henry, welcome to the show.
What's going on, Mendy?
Oh, we're good. We're good as always. How you
Thanks for
doing?
having me on, man. I appreciate, you reaching out on LinkedIn and connecting.
Yes, that's what it's all about. It's all about connections, right?
That's it.
That's it. That's it. So tell everybody who you are and what you're all about.
Oh my God. Do you
I
have
know that's a
four
tough
days?
question.
Do you have 4 days? So real quick, thanks again for having me on the show. Seriously. I mean, it shows like this that really help people get over those humps that set them back for sometimes weeks, months, years. And so let me just do this really, really quick. So I own a company called Unique Designs, and I also go by the name The Brand Doctor. And I have a company that helps personal brands. We work specifically with coaches, consultants, speakers, authors, authority brands, okay? Those folks that have a tremendous service or product and they want to leverage it. They want to scale it. They want to take it to the next level. And I've successfully done this over the past 12 years of my career and started out as a graphic designer. And I was a freelancer, man. I used to design club flyers for the nightclubs. And I did that for about 3.5 years, 4 years. And then I started to get more corporate work. Then my business took a big dump when Fiverr came out. And, I couldn't compete. So I joined them. And I started to be a Fiverr designer. And that ran me ragged because I'll never forget, it was the day where this woman put in a $5 job for a two-sided business card design. And she made me spend 6 hours on the project. So Mendy, do the math. About 85 cents an hour.
That was in the beginning stages of Fiverr, right? When they didn't have this
Right.
idea of charging special
Yeah,
fees.
so you couldn't upsell. So, $5 was $5. And I remember giving her the final files and saying, I am done.
I quit.
And so the business was not doing that well. And I went on with my life. I kept spending money more than I had. We all go through that. And I found myself in a real serious financial issue. And it took a while for me to tell my wife. And I finally told her. And luckily, I have an amazing wife, and she helped me through it. And I got back on the horse. But here's the thing that I realized was, if you're just going to be a freelance graphic designer in today's world, and this is going back 2014, you're going to have a really hard time because graphic design has now become a commodity. Right. And commodities will eventually, if you can't distinguish yourself or differentiate yourself, you're done. And that's where I just became passionate about brand strategy and really helping people design brands from a strategic angle, and then getting into the identity, like the logo and the website and the funnel designs and all of that. And so I dove deep. And I learned from some great people. My mentor today is Chris Doe, and he's helped, he's done jobs for Coldplay and these big billion-dollar agencies. And I'm learning everything, from him. And, it's crazy because it's all about the mindset. And I think this is what you really wanted me to talk about. I had some really low points in my life. Almost lost my wife, almost lost my business twice. And it took a really big toll on me as a person. Imposter syndrome started coming in. I don't deserve this life. I don't deserve this business. And I'm out. Maybe I should just work at Starbucks. Maybe that's all I'm good for. And no offense to those folks that work at Starbucks, but maybe I should just get a 9 to 5. And the name of my book is Refuse to Give Up. And that is one of the biggest mantras and philosophies that I've had ever since a little boy. And I won't. And so that's why I'm here 12 years later.
Talk to me about that. You wrote a book about how to not give up, how to destroy and defeat limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
I know you've said that you've had that since you were a little kid, but first of all, where do you think that came from? And more importantly, how does somebody defeat those limiting beliefs that we might have it about ourselves?
Yeah, so I know exactly where it came from. So my parents, when they got both my parents, my father grew up during the Depression. My mom had a very, very rough childhood. So these two lovebirds get married and they start to try to have a family, and they can't. And they spent 16 years of their life trying to get pregnant. Now, as a 5-year-old boy, hearing my mom tell this story to all of her girlfriends, I thought it really took 16 years to get that. Women were pregnant for 16 years. And so all the women laugh about that. I said, God bless you guys, 16 years pregnancy, right? And what happened was there was just something wrong on both my parents' parts. My mom had some issues. My father had some issues, but they never gave up. I don't know about you, Mendy, but I don't know if I would try anything for 16 years and eventually and never give up. And so, so what happened was there was some surgeries that were done, minor surgeries, and they went to go at it again and see what was going to happen. And finally, I'm born. And so she always used to call me my miracle baby. And then 2 years after I was born, my mom comes into my bedroom. I was in the crib, and she finds me blue and unresponsive. And I almost died. And it was due to lack of nutrition. I just wasn't getting the nutrients that I needed. So they rushed me to the hospital. They pumped me full of saline because it was actually, I lost all the salt in my body. And they bring me back. And that is the story that has triggered everything in my life since day one.
That's crazy. What a story. That's unbelievable. Talk to me about I know graphic designing, at least from my understanding of graphic designing, it really requires you to tap into your creativity and to go to this place. Like, you have to really create something that's never been created before. Talk to me about how you do that, and how do you tap into that inner creativity?
Well, here's the deal. We're not designing logos. We're not designing websites. We're not designing funnels. Okay. We're designing people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there's a big difference. Okay. When I share this quote with my clients or prospects, it just bangs them over the head like a ton of bricks. I tell them the quality of your brand will determine the quality of your clients, and the quality of your clients will determine the quality of your business, and the quality of your business will determine the quality of your life.
Wow.
So what do you want? What do you want? Do you want to stay this way forever, or do you want to improve your life, business, family, clients? And I just go down the list, and I know the answer, but that's the way I look at design. Okay. So that is a huge responsibility for me and my team. And what we do is we make sure that everything's intentional. All right. So I go through a very thorough strategy and diagnosis with my clients before I even touch Photoshop. Now, I don't do any of the design anymore. I have a team of 15 people that are literally around the globe. I have 15 people on my team in 4 different countries and 4 different time zones. And we make it happen. Okay. And I've put together this phenomenal process and system and team. And I have an MBA in business management, and that I got it when I was 22 years old, and it killed me because I couldn't apply any of what I learned because I had no experience. And I got knocked down, promotion after promotion after promotion I would go after, and I would keep getting knocked down because I didn't have experience. So I got out of that corporate world and I started Unique Designs. And what I realized was I still wasn't tapping into that knowledge. The minute I said, well, my mentor at the time said, you need to build a team around you. You need to replace yourself. You're never going to get past this point in your life if you don't scale. And I said, okay, how do I do it? And so here's where the all that MBA knowledge started to come out. And I started to build a culture. I started to build some serious teams, and everything started to just fit into play. Like, Russell Brunson always used to laugh at me because he would talk about it on his podcast. He'd say, Henry, you always got me with that Voltron analogy. I said, I built Voltron for my company. And for those folks, you probably don't even know what Voltron is. Maybe you younger guys don't even know what that is, but it was a cartoon back in the 80s. Yeah. It was a cartoon back in the 80s. And it was these 6 different individual entities, right? They were good guys, and there were 6 of them. And when they came to fight a battle that was too big for all of them to fight individually, they formed Voltron, and they formed this big guy, and 2 people were the arms, 2 people were the legs, 1 person was the core, and the other person was the head. And they went and they kicked ass once they formed Voltron. And so that's what I did. I built my own Voltron and found all the people that I needed and just hired specialists. And that's how I run my business. So my designers are very specific. I have a social media identity designer. I have I have a logo designer. I have a website designer. I have a funnel designer. They're all individual specialists. And that's what makes our stuff, our end results for our clients, our brand identities, amazing.
And what I'm hearing you say essentially is that so many people, when trying to start businesses or trying to start ventures or trying to start whatever it is they're trying to start, a lot of people, they think too small and they're like, okay, we're going to start with this, start with that. But what I'm hearing you say is like, start thinking bigger. Start thinking of yourself as like, I can create something that's way beyond maybe just me sitting on a computer for 15 hours busting my ass. I can be employing people from 4 countries and having customer service all around the clock, because I have to think way bigger than I am right now. And it's a huge and really important exercise for people. If you're listening to this, try that and be like, okay, what am I doing in my life that's too small? What am I doing that's not enough, where I can be like, I can be doing 10x this if I just start to think bigger, right?
Yeah. It's funny. So last year was a huge turning point in my career. So last year I worked with 8 clients. The year before I worked with 48 clients. And I made more money last year than I did in all 12 years of my business. And I asked my father, because my father and I are really, really close. And I said, Dad, what do you think it is? How did I make this kind of money with 8 clients? And he said, experience. And so I went to my mentor and I said, Chris, I asked my father this question, and he said, experience. And I have to agree, my experience is there. I mean, I effed up a lot, Mendy. I continue to mess up. And you know what?
It's part of life. You have to.
It's part of life. That's how you grow, right?
Yeah.
So I said this to my mentor, and my mentor said, I think it's something else. I think experience has something to do with it, but I think it's something else. I think it's belief.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
And I said, tell me more. And he said, do you think you'd be able to close 6- and 7-figure deals if you didn't believe you could? And I said, absolutely not. And he said, that's where I'm seeing. That's where I see you excelling. You're starting to believe in yourself more. And my wife used to say it all the time, like, Henry, why don't you believe in your ability? Right? And there's this imposter syndrome that creeps in every once in a while. And I don't know where it comes from, but now I am so super self-aware. When I see that creeping in, I do a couple things. One is I ask myself, where's this coming from? Right? Why am I feeling this way? Second thing I ask for is, now I start to repel. Okay? I ask myself, what are you grateful for today? Give me 3. Henry, give me 3. And then I ask myself, remember your top 5 accomplishments of all time. And when you change your state like that, right? You no longer, you cannot have imposter syndrome and be grateful and be happy of your accomplishments at the same time. You cannot, your brain will explode. I sound silly, but you're not wired that way. You can't do it. And it immediately takes me out of that state. And I'm refocused, I'm repurposed, and I go. And that's one of my superpowers. I think a lot of people ask me, like, how the hell did you get to where you're at? Like, 2 Comma Club award winner, you know, you're such a role model for a lot of the folks out there that are trying to create a personal brand that's actually successful, right? Not these clowns that are driving around Lambros and G-Wags and all of this stuff. And then when you meet them, right, they live in their basement with their parents. They're not living up to this whole flashy look and feel. And they're jerk offs at the end of the day. They're like, not, you get an energy from somebody when you meet them in person. Yeah. Okay. And when that energy doesn't meet up with the energy that they put out on the social media right away, right? You ask yourself,
you're like, screw you.
Yeah. I've been duped. I've been tricked. Right. And that's it. They're done. You have them chalked up in your head as losers, as, you know, you've sealed the deal. They're no good anymore. Right. And so what I'm trying to do, and I'm not trying, I'm actually doing it, is I am just living the life that I was meant to live, and I will show and prove till the day that I die. And I'm not trying to show or prove to you. I'm trying to show and prove to myself that I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is it.
Yeah, because like, who cares what everyone else thinks about you, right? Like, do it for yourself. Prove to yourself that you can do it. Prove to your psyche that you have it. Believe in yourself. Forget about who else believes in you, because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else can believe in you. You got to believe in yourself first.
Yeah. I mean, that's where it all starts. I'm saying, I tell people all the time, I tell my Brand Accelerator clients, if you don't believe in this product, why in the hell would anybody else believe in it? Right? So do you believe you can help these people and serve these people? Yes. Okay. Then now we have a story to tell. And that's going to be our differentiating factor, right? People ask me all the time, what makes you so different, Henry? There's a gazillion brand strategists out there. What makes you so different? I look them dead in the eye and I go, me. Try to clone me and duplicate me.
That's so good.
And it's like, see that, but it's that confidence that I radiate. And let's not get confused, okay? I don't want anybody to hear me for the first time going, whoa, this guy's got some ego and got some, say that. Right? He's got some machismo to him. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. I am the most humble individual you ever meet, because I know what it's like to have nothing. And I know what it's like to have a lot. Okay. And there's a funny middle that I just happen to love, and I'll stay there. But let's not get confidence mistaken with ego, cockiness, narcissism, because that will kill you. Mm-hmm. That will literally kill you. All right. And so I don't want anybody to get that twisted.
And I think confidence, the difference between confidence and ego or cockiness is the difference between understanding your self-worth and being insecure. People that understand their self-worth, which clearly you do because you're able to charge up to the wazoo to have 8 clients and make more than you were making with 50, that's all here. It's understanding that I'm enough. I can charge whatever I want because I'm good, because you can't find another Henry. Someone that's cocky or someone that has a huge ego is like, I don't know if I'm enough. Therefore, I have to stick myself in your face and show everybody that I'm better than you, because otherwise I'm not enough. And I won't be content with myself because I'm really insecure deep inside. And that's really the difference. And I think you can really tell. You can tell when you hear somebody talk. Some people talk, you're like, dude, you're full of shit. But some people talk, you're like, yo, this guy's cool. Like, yeah, he might be come across as a little cocky, but if you think deeper into it and hear him, you're like, okay, really? He's just confident because he knows himself. He's okay with who you are. Yeah.
I had a very interesting conversation today. It was funny. You got me at a really good day, because I had to dissolve a client relationship today, and we ended it amicably. And let's dive in, because this is what your show is all about, right? Yeah. So here's what happened. I took this client on, and it was a $50,000 job. Okay. And I took him on, and right away I just had this pit in my stomach that maybe this guy isn't the right fit for us, because he came across as extremely demanding and very egotistical, and I was picking up on all of these signs, and I was like, I don't want to give up. I said, I don't want to give up on the job. I want to serve this guy. So let's have at it. So we have team meetings, and every time we show up, he's like Jekyll. All right, he's like Jekyll. And then a week will go by, and I'll get Hyde. And then a week will go by, and I'll get Jekyll. And then a week will go by, and I'll get Hyde. And so we planned out together as a team, me and the client, that we're going to get this job done by May 1st. And here's the milestones that we got to hit to make that happen. And I was super clear. And he said, okay, I'm on it. So he had his responsibility. I had my responsibility. I wake up on Monday or Tuesday, or I wake up today, and I get Hyde. And it was crazy, dude. It was like I wasn't even talking to the same person. So so what I do is I jump on the phone and I go, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. I need the copywriting from you so that my team can start the design, because it's not in the contract. You said you would provide the copy, and because I have a copywriter, he could certainly do it. But he said, no, I got it. I'll do it. So I said, all right. So he said, so what did you do for the past week while you were waiting for the copy? On our last call, buddy, I told you we don't start the design until we get the copy. So he explodes. So you did nothing this whole week and waited for me. I said, that was what I told you on our last call. And here's what was interesting. The next words out of his mouth were, dude, my companies are way bigger than yours. Bro, you work out of your home. Now, I say to myself, what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything here? Yeah. Right? So now I see an insecure person in front of me. Yeah. And I actually feel sorry for him. Yeah. I actually felt sorry for him. So I said, here's what we're going to do. I'm done torturing you. And I said it jokingly. I said, I don't want to torture you anymore, my man. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut our losses here. We're going to dissolve this partnership. It's just not working out. It's just like, it's just a bad hookup. And, people, that happens. I said, so what I'll do is I'll go back home and I will look at what it cost me in time and my team, because I paid my team already to work on this, right? We had already put in 50 hours of work. I just looked it up. 50 hours plus my time, right? And so I said, I will refund you the whole amount minus my costs. Well, if you're going to nickel and dime me, I'm going to send you an invoice of all my time. What do you think my time was costing? And I said, so do you expect me to work for free? Like, he solicited me. I didn't go after him. He came to me. Mm-hmm. And he said, all right, so it's $5,000. That's the price. And I go, no, it's not. Now, this guy has been bullying me, trying to, for the past 2 months. And I'm just not having it. And I said, no, it's not. And I said, here's what we're going to do. I said, I'm in the city all day because I had to meet with a client. And he said, you're going to the city? Why aren't you working on my project? And I said, I have other clients other than you. And he kind of got quiet. And he started to try to bash again. Like, you don't need to, he tried to dictate the process, right? Now I have a process here. This is why my team and my brand developments come out way better than other clients and other brand agencies that I've seen. And because we have a process and we stick to it. So he's trying to dictate the process. And I said, this isn't going to work. So I said, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you back 40 grand. And I'm going to keep the remainder. And that's it. It's fair enough. Okay. I'll have it wired over to you by the end of the day. Send me over your account information. And that was that. Okay. And I said, before I go, I just want to tell you something. I still think you're a good guy. I think you're a good guy. I said, and the next time I'm out in California, I'll have a beer with you. We'll bullshit, whatever you want to do. I said, it just wasn't a good fit here. That was it. And so how do you do that with somebody who's blatantly bullying you? You have to remember, like that old Bruce Lee shit. You have to remember the philosophy of Aikido. When somebody's coming at you full bore like that, if you come back at them full bore, there's going to be a massive impact, and it's not going to be good. And I've been there. I've done that already too. It's bad.
That was the other guy.
I said, this time, when I have that energy coming at me, I'm just going to step aside, and I'm going to let it flow past. I'm going to let it flow past. Because here's the thing, Mendy. A lot of people react for many different reasons, okay? This person reacts in a bully, condescending way to deal with hurt, anger, insecurity. Like, we all handle that stuff differently. This guy happens to do it this way. See, I'm more empathetic. When I see somebody who's struggling, I want to get down on their level, and I want to ask them, how can I help them? How can we make this better? How can we work together to make this better? My team struggled. I had a couple designers at one point that were just in the wrong places, the wrong positions. I had a social media identity designer doing landing page design. I had a landing page designer that was doing social media identity, and they were stuck. And I said, what do you love to design? And they both told me the opposite. And I said, that's it. That's where you go, and that's where you go. And you'll never see another landing page design, and you'll never see a social media. And now they pump out phenomenal work. So that's how we handled that. I wasn't going to bash this kid and say, you know, my business is bigger than your business, so you need to listen to me. No. So we all handle it differently. But what I saw was a very insecure man. And I truly felt sorry for him. And he kept trying to bully. And I just wasn't having it, because I know who I am. I believe in me. And I know just because one person isn't getting along with me or isn't a good fit or vibe with me, that's not going to dictate or set in stone who I am as a person and who I am as a professional and what I do as a business. And I always tell people, never believe when one person says you suck, it's a lie. When 100 people say you suck, you better scratch your head and say, am I doing something wrong here? But you may not necessarily suck. You know when you suck? When you say to yourself, I suck. And I used to do that. I used to bury myself. I was so horrible to myself. And my mentor said to me, man, you're tough on yourself. You have a 19-month-old son. If he fell because he was trying to get up and learn how to walk, would you speak to him that way? And I said, no. He said, then why would you speak to yourself that way? And I said, you got me. And so I am way more gentler to myself these days, because and we're just about out of time. You hear him in the background.
You're killing me here, because you have to give me 3 more minutes at least. But I wish I could talk more about literally how you could get somewhere in a negative or positive way depending on what you're telling yourself. But you're exactly right. But let's do a quick fire round. I'm going to ask you some questions. I know you're killing me with time here, but
no, go for it.
Some questions and just throw some answers at me. If you could have drinks with one person alive, who would it be?
Drinks with one person, who would it be? Holy crap. Man, you got me on the spot here. I would say Denzel Washington.
Oh, good one. I like that. He's a cool dude. Who's your role model?
I would say my mentor, Chris Do.
Good. Favorite book or movie, or both?
My favorite movie is The Bronx Tale. And my favorite book would have to be The Four Agreements.
I like that one. I just finished it actually. What's something you wish you knew at 21?
That money will not buy you happiness.
I wish I could talk more on that. What does success mean to you?
Success means to me that I'm doing what I love with who I love when I want to do it, and having that freedom to do it. And that means it doesn't mean the big house and the big cars and the watches and the shoes and this and that. It means being 100% fulfilled inside and knowing that I'm fulfilling my mission here on earth.
I love that. What's your one piece of advice for people trying to build a brand?
Know who you are. Know how you're going to help them solve their problems. But really understand who it is that you want to serve and who it is that you don't want to serve, and get really, really clear on that. You know, this was a great experience for me today. It was just a simple reminder, because this isn't the first time this happened, right? But it was a simple reminder of, oop, this guy got through the gates. Let's think back and say to ourselves, okay, how do we prevent this from happening again? What does our qualification process look like? What needs to be tweaked? Because we know we never want to work with that kind of individual again. Right? So know who you want to serve, know who you don't want to serve.
And like you said, like, just because I don't want to work with him doesn't mean he's my enemy. Like,
no.
Yeah, we'll go to a Magic game, like we'll chill. I don't mind. But like, I don't want to be your client.
There's different word. There's a friend relationship and there's a working relationship. And I know a lot of people, like, that's why I don't do business with family. I don't want to intermingle those two. And that's my preference. It's my choice.
Right. If you could share one message with the world, what would it be?
One message to the world, it would be never to give up. Believe in yourself. You're way more than enough. And you have everything inside of you that you need to live a beautiful, fulfilling life. It's just your responsibility to find those things inside of you and to execute on them and to deploy them.
Yeah, I love that. Where can people find more about you?
You can go to my website, Unique Designs with a Z at the end, not an S.net. I'm going to send everybody to Instagram and my YouTube channel. So my Instagram is @thebrand.dr, and my YouTube channel is The Brand Doctor. And you could get so much content and free trainings and all that stuff from all of those three spots, but that's where they can find me.
Thank you so much for your time, Henry. You were amazing.
It's a pleasure, my man. Thank you.
Thank you. All the best. Have a good day.